NATALIE. This is now my third time trying to record this video, and it's going to be a short video, but I'm getting a little frustrated now, so I hope the third time is the charm. This week's topic is what's next, witches and the afterlife. And for me, this is a really nebulous topic to talk about because we don't really know what happens to us after death. We know there must be some existence beyond this because we can communicate with those who have passed on. At least we believe. We know we do. What am I saying? We don't believe we do. We know we do. There has always, throughout time and culture, been a steady belief in humanity that life continues beyond this plane of existence. And when I was growing up, I was raised in a very staunch Christian household, as many of you already know. I was raised Church of Christ, and the general belief with that, and Protestants are a little more unclear about this than Catholics are. Catholics believe that when you die, your soul goes immediately into purgatory, and you kind of sit there, and if you've done some sort of sin, you do some sort of penance until you're released from purgatory. Provided you haven't committed a mortal sin, which just sends you straight to hell. And, you know, you kind of wait for this final judgment day when Jesus returns to the earth and everybody is raised, which that'll be a crowded house, won't it? And everybody stands before God and takes judgment based on their actions, what they've done in life. Now, the Egyptians had a somewhat similar belief in ancient Egyptian culture. They believed that when you died, particularly the Pharaoh, when the Pharaoh died, that he was set before Osiris and Anubis would weigh his heart on a scale against a feather. And if you were found worthy, you were then permitted to enter into the afterlife. And they believed that the afterworld was much like this one, that you kind of went on with life as normal, and that's why you had to have food and so on and so forth. So they would always bury them with food and offerings for the gods and goddesses and so on. Now, Protestants believe in the ultimate judgment just as Catholics do, but it's very kind of nebulous as to what happens to you in the in-between time. They don't really talk about a purgatory, at least the Church of Christ does not. You just sort of rest until you're called up. So that never really jived well with me. My personal experiences in life lent me to believe that there must be something beyond, and that it wasn't you were just gone until you were called forth again. I knew that we had the ability to cross that plane, and so over time in reading and learning, and especially the more I get into the craft and the deeper my studies go and the more I read and the more ideas I'm exposed to, my theory has kind of evolved. I did hear a lecture recently about the Akashic Records. One of the things the lady said I found very profound. One of the things she said is, you know, when we have bad experiences, people say to you, oh, that's a learning experience. The universe sent this to you to try you so that you could learn from this experience. And we don't use that same terminology for good experiences. We don't say, oh, well, this just happened to you to teach you a lesson. And I thought, you know, she's very right about that. But why don't we say that? Because that's what I believe. I found in my heart that, to me, we are here to learn what it is to be fully human. We are here to experience every single aspect, good and bad, of being human. And that as we go through time and we live this particular existence and then we die and our soul is sent back again to learn a new lesson in some way, whether good or bad. I believe that those good things that happen to us are there to teach us lessons too. Because it's not about what happens to us, but how we respond to what happens to us. When good things happen to us, do we send that forward? Do we pay that forward? Or do we keep that to ourselves and revel in the joy of that without being sure to share those things with others? And I really do, in my heart, believe that we are interconnected. Everything living, everything created in this planet, and in this time, and in this place, and in this existence, and any other parallel planes or universes or existences, exists because we are a part of the God and the Goddess. They create us. They are within us. Everything that we create holds a piece of us within it, including our children. And furniture or poetry or anything that we do, it carries a piece of us with it. And so being that intertwined, we are here to learn those lessons one together. And that, yes, we will experience horrible, tragic, terrible things. We will do horrible, tragic, terrible things. We will save others from horrible, terrible, tragic things. We will experience joy and happiness and hard work and pride and pleasure and all of those things throughout all of these existences, because each one of those, good and bad, teaches us something about what it is to be human and to be alive and to be a creation of the God and Goddess. And so we take all of those things, and when we finally have learned everything that we are to learn on this existence, our soul is elevated to the Summerland, and we get to go forward and be someone's spirit guide. We get to be the one that goes forward and connects with someone who has that connection with spirit and guide them, knowingly or unknowingly. They may not know we're there, but we are there to guide them. So for those that believe in angels, we become the angel. We are the one who is sent forward to guide others in that journey based on our experiences and what we learned from them. And everybody's experience is different. So we're each, as a spirit guide, going to have something a little different to offer, which is why I think we're put with certain people who are at certain places in their journey. So I know that sounds a little odd to some people, I'm sure, but to me that makes perfect sense, that we're here to experience everything, to know exactly what it is to be human, good and bad, throughout all time and space, and that once we have learned those lessons, we then get to be the guide who helps others through those lessons, good and bad. And I think a lot of people cling to the idea of heaven and hell because we want to believe that those who do bad things here are punished. And I believe they are. I do believe we are. I believe that we do in some other existence experience the pain that we inflict on others in the same way that we've inflicted it. That we all go through these experiences, super horrible and super good. And we might not be well-to-do in this existence, but we experience what it is to be wealthy and to not worry, because that carries its own host of issues with it. And don't think that people that just because they have a lot of money are happy, because it's been my knowledge and firsthand experience that that is not the case. I had a great aunt who was fabulously wealthy. She was a multimillionaire, and she was probably one of the most unhappy people I know of. She really truly believed people only talked to her because they wanted something from her, and she felt like if she did something for you, she owned you. So don't believe that that makes you happy, because it really doesn't always. It can. You can certainly do more for people. You can help more people. So I think that we get to experience all of that through various different existences through time, and that when we have learned everything that we can learn, we are elevated and become the guide. So I would love to see your video responses. I'd like to see your comments in the down bar. Please be respectful. We are who we are, not in the down bar, but you know what I mean, in the comment section below. Video responses I love, because I read a lot from people's body language. I like to know what your real beliefs are, and I think that this gives us an opportunity to learn a lot from each other. And I really like to hear other people's beliefs on this topic, because it is so unknown, it's so mysterious, and it's so sometimes frightening. You know, it makes us afraid of death, but I think that death is just a portal to the next, and so I don't really think that we have anything to fear there. I really do believe that we grow as we go. So I would love to hear your comments and share these things with you, and again, be respectful, because really ultimately that's what it's all about. Thank you so much for watching. Blessed be, and have a great week.